Hello everybody. I've had several requests to talk about the future and the future of humanity and things of that nature. Now I don't have any powers of long distant prophecy or anything like that, but I can make some estimated guesses based on the past, where we're at now, and what the future looks like if things don't change, or what could happen if some things did change. Now I do have in my head a somewhat perfect model of society. I also have knowledge about what actually is going on in society and what has gone on in societies. I also know that the last 10,000 years of modern civilization is only a scratch on the entire sum of the hominid experience. It's only a 20th of the Homo sapien experience. So let's talk about the immediate future. If things keep going as they are, war keep going on, debt keep going on, things are just going to get worse and worse. The rich are going to get richer, the poor are going to get poorer. Right now, more than 50% of the Earth's population lives on less than $1 a day. And I hear everybody is bitching about health care. Part of being in a modern civilization, one of the benefits is that we help each other because it benefits a larger number of us. Otherwise, everybody would just be totally self-serving and there wouldn't be any societies. So there's no question that universal health care is the humane thing. Not just for Americans, but for the entire planet. And people who constantly bitch about taxes and it's going to cost all these people money and you're going to have all these people paying for it and it's not fair, screw you. Okay? Anybody who thinks that doesn't know what the real problems are. The cost of war for America for 1 year could take the entire planet and give universal health care, universal education, universal clean water and food. Just give it to them. And that's everybody. So we're not just talking about having enough money to pay for America to have health care. I'm talking about having enough money for everybody on the planet to have total health care, everybody on the planet to have all the food they could ever want. I'm talking about everybody on the planet not just getting this dumbing down education that they force feed you in the public schools to keep you stupid, but an actual education so that each human's experience would benefit the human race. Now, I'm an anarchist, so I'm against the government, and I'm also against big business. But I think if you're going to have these big entities that are going to work towards the common human good, we can do it in much better ways than taxing people and faulting these people for these people and all these other things. All these arguments that you make about people's tax money going to pay for the sick and the weak and the hungry is an advocation of war. We end war on a planetary scale, there might not even be a need for money anymore. So as long as things keep going as they are, I don't see much change except for the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, which isn't a change, just the division between them will keep changing. If we can get over the war and start focusing our attention on things that really matter, like improving the planet, improving civilization, improving the environment, then we can get on to the real matters at hand, which are actually improving society and maybe colonizing the universe. Now, as far as evolution goes, I think Homo sapiens will probably stay like this for a very long time. We have no need to change or develop, even though we are changing and developing all around the world. And now in these modern times with globalization, you've got all kinds of gene pools mixing with other gene pools. So this is going to bring out new traits, but it doesn't seem likely that we would change from something other than Homo sapiens, except that our brains keep getting bigger and bigger. Eventually, maybe 1 million years from now, our brain will be bigger and we will be classified as something else. One way that will truly guarantee evolution of Homo sapiens is space colonization. There's no doubt that as generations are born off the planet, they're going to be born with a different physiology than us. They're going to be an isolated population, and their gene pool is going to grow within itself and adapt to the environment, whether it's in space or on another planet. In space right now, humans have to undergo physical training to keep their bones and their muscle strength up. Otherwise, they'll start becoming brittle and become useless. Traveling for years at a time in space without upkeeping the physique regularly, it's going to turn our bones to jelly. Now, space travel becomes a popular, everyday kind of thing, and people start going up and down into space and traveling to other planets in the solar system and in the galaxy. Most people aren't astronauts who do exercise every day. In fact, Americans right now, which arguably might be the first people to colonize space, 60% of the population or more are morbidly obese. So it's not like we're going to expect them to become astronaut status when they colonize. People are going to be lazy when they go into space, and their bones and their muscles will start to meld and become weaker. And after generations and generations of this, maybe our brains will grow, but our bodies will probably start becoming smaller because they won't be used as much. It's evolutionary possible. We might turn into something that looks like the popular greys with the big head and the big eyes and the small bodies. And that kind of evolutionary change might only happen in 10 generations. So we're not even talking about millions and billions of years. We're talking about maybe 100 or a couple hundred years. We would probably start seeing some evolutionary change in space-born Homo sapiens. If people were born on other planets like Mars, for example, they wouldn't be Earthlings anymore. They would be Martians. They might still be humans. They might be Homo sapiens for a while. Eventually, they would just be Martians. If they were born, say, on Titan, they might be a Titan. Another thing I think is going to be an important factor in human evolution is our technology. There's no doubt with our medical technology and cloning and our advanced computer technology and nanotechnologies that we're going to start seeing some changes on the genetic level with the ability to manipulate DNA or to have prosthetic limbs of bionic proportion. It won't be too far in the future, I'm sure, that people will have body modifications that'll take tiny batteries and have fiber optics and maybe even USB ports to plug into their brain. It won't be too long before they have the electronic patterns that make up language in the brain that we'll be able to communicate with our thought. They're already doing some things like that concerning paraplegics and moving a mouse. And anybody who knows anything about physics knows that those signals could be reversed, so they could implant those electric signals into your brain too and make you think the thoughts they want you to think. So everybody get your tinfoil hats out and remember, shiny side out. When I think about a perfect model society, I think about Star Trek. They didn't have war, they didn't have money, they were motivated by science and personal betterment and fulfillment of life for everyone. And I think if we're ever going to turn humanity into a paradise and the earth into heaven, we need to start focusing on fixing all the problems, not just the ones that benefit the strong and fuck the weak or anything like that. We genuinely need to make steps as a society to help fix the problems on every level of society. And as we fix these problems, new problems will arise. Things that turn the wheels of society, the social consciousness, what people are willing to do versus what they actually do, and to step up everybody's performance on an individual level and expect more out of people and be understanding that people are unaware of most of these things, and to help them grow so that they will continue to pass it on to their children. This is how the religions have been pushing themselves for thousands upon thousands of years, way before Christianity was ever even heard of. If we're going to save humanity and evolve it into something better than what it is, we need to be actively involved in changing the evolution of the social consciousness. Only when it becomes popular for politicians to do the right thing and big business CEOs to genuinely do the right thing are things going to change for the better. Now, how close do you think we are to making that happen? I think the social evolution has a long way to go. Unfortunately, it probably will be war that changes things, because the rich people aren't going to give up their privileges of being in the elite class of the world just because of the good of their hearts. Now, I'm not advocating war at all. I say get rid of all war and start sharing with all of humanity. People have the stupid idea that there has to be rich people to be poor people, that not everybody on the planet could be living in the paradise, but it could be like that. And I'm not talking about ises and oughts. I'm talking about could. It could be like that. It could be paradise for everyone. The only reason they're suffering now is because there are other people benefiting from that suffering. Then maybe one day people could realize that the time that is their life, their experience, is usually worth more than the money they're making. And if the money they're making is worth more than their own life, then they're making too much. And some of those resources need to go to people who have none. Because the people who have no opportunity and no resources are wasted lives that could be potentials to the human existence. Just because their civilization's starving doesn't mean that they're worthless. It means that their kids could be educated in a good manner, that they could be brought up in a better society, and that we need to fix all of the problems on the globe, or we're going to take some of these problems to space. Humans will need to colonize off the planet to guarantee the success of life. Not just our life, but life itself. Because until we actually verify that there's some life out there in the universe, this is it. It could be that nuclear war might take us out. It could be that an asteroid could come take us out. It could be that a virus comes and wipes us all out. Now, I don't want to come off like I'm Chicken Little running around with my head cut off, because I don't think the end of the earth is going to come anytime soon, although any of those scenarios could happen tomorrow. I do think we need to up the speed on the space colonization process. So I guess I could go on and on about any aspect on this, but I thought this would be a good start to the conversation, so let me know what you think about the future of humanity, and maybe we'll keep this going a little bit. Peace.